Hello there, everyone.
Hi, boys and girls.
Say, we're certainly glad that you can be with us today because Hansu has a new and exciting series of stories about a very famous person.
Right you are, Uncle Dan. I'll simply call the story
Dwight L. Moody, God's Man.
Betsy Moody moved a pot of beans toward the back of the stove and set the frying pan on the fire. Then she opened the oven door and shoved in a large pan of potatoes. Picking up the empty pail, she went out to the well in the yard. After lowering the bucket, she pulled it to the top, now brimful of cold water, unhooked it, and carried it into the house. It had been a busy day for Betsy there in her New England home on the outskirts of the village of Northfield, Massachusetts. How could it be otherwise with 6 children, the eldest only 11? The Moodys were fortunate to have a large garden. The 2 older boys had been out there all afternoon hoeing the long rows of corn. Betsy thought of her husband, Edwin, who was laying bricks in the village. Work was scarce all over the United States that summer of 1837. Mr. Moody, a kind, generous man and a good workman, earned fair wages. But the Depression had been getting worse, and there was always the danger that he might lose his job and join the thousands of unemployed. The sun was now touching the horizon. From the kitchen, Betsy could see little Anne playing in the yard. Baby Dwight lay cooing in the large wooden cradle in the corner of the kitchen.
Anne? Anne?
Yes, Mother.
Run, dear, and greet your father. He should be coming soon. You can wait for him under the shade of the beech tree at the turn of the road.
All right, Mother.
Well, everything's all ready. I wonder what's keeping Edwin so long tonight. I'd better leave the dinner on the stove until he comes. It'll stay warm all right, I think. Oh, baby, darling, is my little Dwight feeling neglected? Oh, you are you? Well, come on, then. There. Let's go out on the porch. It should be cooler than this hot kitchen. That's a sweet boy. We'll rock a while. I think you'll be happier out here. Yes, I do.
Sitting there in that rocking chair as the twilight fell, did Betsy Moody dream that in the years to come, this little boy she held would be famous, and that his name would be spoken by millions? Well, whether she did or not, God had a great work mapped out for little Dwight, a work that would take him all over the world with a message for lost sinners everywhere.
I wonder why your father is so late tonight. And by this time, your brothers must be tired. They've worked in the garden all afternoon. So Mother is going to ring the bell for them to come to the house.
Supper ready, Mother?
Yes, son, it's ready, but your father's not come yet. He should be here soon. You boys can get washed up.
All right, Mother.
Annie, didn't you see any sign of your father?
No, Mother.
It was almost dark before they saw Father coming. Walking slowly with shoulders bent and head bowed, he turned in at the gate, silently climbed the steps, stumbled into the house, and collapsed into his favorite chair.
What's wrong, my dear Edwin?
We're in great trouble, and I see no way out. No way out.
You've lost your job? Oh, don't worry about that, for I'm sure you can find another.
Oh, no, dear Betsy. I haven't lost my job.
Well, if you haven't lost your job, what then?
Our neighbor Yancey has gone bankrupt. His creditors will come tomorrow and take everything he has.
Oh, that's terrible, just terrible. But, Edwin, how does that affect us?
Our mortgage, Betsy. Yancey holds the mortgage on this house. Now the mortgage will fall into the hands of someone else who may demand payment in full immediately, and I haven't the money.
Who will get the mortgage?
I'm not sure yet, but I hear that Ezra Purple is the most likely one.
That will be bad. He is the most grasping man in Northfield. Why don't you go and see John Belden? You borrowed money and put this mortgage on our house in order to help him. Surely he will repay you when he learns of your difficulty.
Well, John would help me if he could, but he lost everything he owned when the bank closed, and he's penniless.
Then our future does look dark indeed.
True. All too true. But let's not worry the children with our troubles. So long as I have work, I'll continue to meet the payments.
Edwin Moody's family gathered around the table, and the father gave thanks for the wholesome food. After supper, by the light of the kerosene lamp, Father read words of strength and comfort from the big family Bible. Edwin Moody was right about the mortgage. It fell into the hands of Ezra Purple, and a few days later,
Mr. Purple, there is no possible way that I can pay off the mortgage in full. However, I have a steady job and will faithfully make the payments each month. I should be able to have the entire bill paid up within 5 years.
All right. But mind you don't fail. Because I'm telling you, Edwin Moody, if you get behind one payment, I'll take your house before a cat can wash its whiskers.
Edwin knew that Ezra Purple meant every word, and it was with deep concern that he watched the old man stride off down the road. The days, weeks, and months passed. When little Dwight was a year old, baby Warren was born, the 7th child. The long Depression years slowly passed, and better times came. But with so many children to feed and clothe, it was impossible for the hard-working father to earn enough to completely pay off the mortgage. The debt hung like a dark cloud over the family, ever threatening to sweep away their home. One beautiful May morning, Edwin Moody set out for work. He was to lay stone in the village. He had not been busy long when, on lifting a particularly heavy stone, he felt a sudden stabbing pain in his side. He dropped the stone quickly, then found that he could not straighten himself up. Painfully, he made his way toward home, groaning in agony. Betsy saw him staggering home and ran to help him into the house and onto the bed. For a few minutes he lay on the bed, his pain slightly eased. Then it returned with tenfold fury. Edwin slid out of bed and onto his knees to pray. Suddenly, he uttered a shuddering groan, then fell forward, dead. Betsy Moody was left alone with 7 children and a mortgage on her home. White-faced and stunned, she sent the oldest boy running for the neighbor.
Oh, you poor, poor dear. What comfort is there for a widow? At least Edwin's troubles are over, and he will never suffer again.
But my troubles are just beginning. A mortgaged house, 7 children, and another baby soon to be born.
Soon the old iron bell in the Northfield meeting house began to toll. Its 41 strokes, pealing out over the quiet valley, told one and all that Mrs. Moody was a widow. The villagers flocked to her to express their sympathy, many bringing gifts of food and clothing. A month later, the last children of Edwin and Betsy Moody were born. Children? Yes, not one, but twins. It almost staggered Betsy to think of facing the future with 9 mouths to feed. Then one morning, while still in bed recovering from the birth of the twins, she heard a horse and wagon drive in. 3 men climbed out, walked up to the door, knocked, and then entered the house without waiting to be invited in.
Mrs. Moody, I have come for the deed to this house and farm. As you know, I hold the mortgage on it, and I intend to foreclose. You have no husband now, and you have made no payment for 6 weeks. Where is the title, woman? You can sign the property over to me in the presence of these witnesses.
No. No, Ezra Purple. You shall not have the title to this house and land. Oh, yes, I knew you would come. There is no pity or mercy in your heart, only greed. Well, you listen to me. I suppose you think I am just a stupid, uneducated woman. Maybe I am, but, Mr. Purple, I do know that the law of Massachusetts does not permit a creditor to take this house from a widow.
All right. So I can't take your house and land. Well, that does not prevent me from taking everything in the house. And that's just exactly what I shall do. Now, you fellows, start moving this furniture out. Start in the kitchen. Yes, sir. Well, don't just stand there. Get moving.
The stove was loaded on the wagon first, then the table, chairs, stools, pots, pans, dishes, and even the spinning wheel on which the widow spun cloth for her children's clothing. All the food in the cupboards was seized. Next, they went to the barn and removed all farm implements and tools, then to the woodshed and carried away every stick of wood. While this was going on, the oldest boys had come up from their work in the field to see who might be visiting their mother. With horror and dismay, they watched their possessions being carried away. It was truly a desolate homestead that Ezra Purple left behind that summer day, but the neighbors saw too, and a wave of sympathy swept through the community. Before nightfall, many of the neighbors had visited the Moody home, bringing food, clothing, and furniture. That night, long after the children fell asleep,
Oh, God, what shall I do? What shall I do? Send me some guidance, some assurance that I shall not be alone in the struggle.
Betsy Moody opened her Bible to the 49th chapter of Jeremiah, and her eyes fell on the 11th verse.
Thy fatherless children I will preserve them alive. Let thy widows trust in me. Oh, thank you, dear God, thank you. I will simply trust in your promises and rest in your love.
The problem that now faced Betsy Moody was how to hold her family together, as well as feed, clothe, and educate them. She hoped that by all working together they could produce enough food from the farm to carry them through the winter.
Now that the babies are asleep, I want the rest of you children to come sit at the table with me. We're going to have a family council.
All right, Mother. Yes, Mother.
As you children know already, our farmland is not very good. Too many rocks and poor soil. I had hoped that somehow we could grow enough food to live off of for the winter. But I realize now we can't.
What are we going to do, Mama?
There's only one solution as I can see it. Edwin, you and the older boys are going to have to board out with some of our neighbors. You will help them with farm chores in return for your room and board. You will work for them Monday through Saturdays and come home to spend Sundays.
Oh, Mother, do we have to leave home? Please don't make us. We'll work harder on our farm. We'll make things grow. You'll see.
No, Edwin, I'm sorry. There just isn't any other way. We all can't live off this farm. I don't like it any better than you do, son. But I'm afraid we have no choice.
Reluctantly, the boys accepted the arrangement. Soon they were setting off in all directions very early every Monday morning. Dwight was still too young for this, but even he did his part. He took his first paying job when he was only 7 years old. For driving a neighbor's cows to pasture on a nearby mountain and bringing them back each evening, he was paid 1 cent a day. How proud he felt as he turned those hard-earned pennies over to his mother. Saturday evening found all the older Moody children back at home with their mother, and each child duly bathed in the old metal tub. Then on Sunday morning,
Now, children, no playing on your way through the woods. You march right along.
I want you to be in Sunday school on time.
Yes, Mother.
And you carry your shoes and socks until you get to the clearing by the church. We don't want those shoes to wear out any sooner than they have to.
Mama, I wish you'd go with us. Please, Mama?
Not this time, Anne. Hurry along now or you'll be late.
Yes, Mama.
What's the matter with you, Ann? Don't you know that Mama can't go with us to church?
But why not, Edwin?
Because, silly girl, she doesn't have a decent dress to wear to church.
Young Edwin was right. Since all the money that came into Betsy's hands was required to provide food and clothing for her children, she could spend almost nothing on herself. For years she was unable to attend church, not having suitable clothing to wear. And in spite of all her efforts, there were times when Betsy Moody and her family tasted the bitterness of utter poverty, with the cupboard bare and the woodshed empty. One bitterly cold morning, while the children were in bed in order to keep warm until the very last minute before they must get dressed and hurry away to school, Dwight heard a sleigh drive into the yard. Soon he heard the sound of wood being chopped. And presently Uncle Cyrus entered the house, carrying in the largest armload of wood the boy had ever seen. Home would be warm again. One Saturday night, when Dwight was 10 years old, his brother Edwin arrived after a 13-mile walk from Greenfield Village.
Hello, everyone. I'm home.
Edwin, dear, you must be tired. Come, sit down. I'll bring you some supper.
Thank you, Mother.
Did you have a good week, son?
Oh, I guess so, Mother. By the way, I found a place for Dwight.
A place for me? But I don't want to go anywhere. I just want to stay home and help Mother.
Where is this place, Edwin?
Some old folks living near Greenfield need a boy to do their chores. They can't pay him any cash, but they can give him his room and board.
I'm not going. Who wants to live with some old man and woman? Oh, please, Mother. Please don't make me go. I want to stay here with you.
I'm afraid there is no other way, Dwight. I don't see how I can find food for the rest of this winter. And this will mean one less plate on the table to fill. I don't like it, but what else can we do?
All right, Mother, if I have to.
So, on a cold Monday morning, Dwight and his brother waved goodbye to their mother and the other children and set out to walk 13 miles over the frozen ground to Greenfield. Edwin took Dwight to the farm where he was to work and there left him, homesick and lonesome. The old man was cross and had no sympathy with boys, and his wife was even worse. Dwight's one consolation was that he and Edwin were in the same neighborhood and could see each other occasionally during the week. Edwin Moody's children never go back on their word, Betsy reminded her boys again and again. Once when Dwight was hired out to work for a farmer for his board and room, he found much that did not please him. One December morning, his mother saw him trudging along the road toward home. She walked out to meet him.
Why, Dwight, what are you doing here? Won't the farmer keep you any longer?
Yes, he'll keep me, but I'm not going to stay there one more day. Do you know what they give me to eat?
No, son, I don't. But what has that got to do with your coming home?
Plenty. For 19 days I've been given cornmeal, porridge, and milk 3 times a day.
Is that all you get?
Well, no. Once in a while they give me some crusts of bread that are too hard for them to chew.
Is there enough porridge to satisfy your hunger? Do you get all you can eat?
Yes, but...
That's all I wanted to know. You will go right back to the farm and work until your time is up.
And back to the farm Dwight Moody went, to eat more cornmeal porridge. But life was not all work for Dwight and his brothers. There were long hikes in the hills occasionally and swims in the river. There were rough and even dangerous games of follow the leader among the boys of the community, and sometimes Dwight led the boys into pranks that brought stern rebuke and even punishment from the adults. One of Dwight's teachers was a stern, severe man who believed he could teach the boys only by continually whipping them, and Dwight received his share. But the boys were more than a match for this teacher, and at the end of the spring term he resigned. In the fall, the students were surprised to see a lady take charge of the school. On opening day, she announced that she intended to rule with love. She did not plan to whip anyone. Oh, the boys thought this would be fun. For a few days, they made no trouble, and this gave them time to discover that she was an excellent teacher. One day, Dwight deliberately broke a rule, wishing to see what the teacher would do. Quietly, she requested him to remain in the room after the others had gone. Dwight winked at the boys as they filed past, bracing himself for the punishment he felt sure was coming. But instead of getting a stick, she came and sat down by him.
Dwight, there's something I want you to understand. I love you. I love each one of my students. I will not whip any one of you. If I cannot teach without whipping, I will resign. I'm sorry about what you did today, and I know you are too. And I hope when you say your prayers tonight, you will ask God's help and forgiveness. I need you to be one of my strong helpers in the classroom. Think it over, will you?
Dwight was completely won over. In fact, if any other boy gave the teacher trouble, he lit into him with both fists. Only when the teacher seized Dwight's arm would he stop pounding the troublemaker. Yet the love of mischief was strong in Dwight, and this led him into many escapades. One summer, he was helping a farmer bring in the hay. The man was driving the heavy-laden wagon. Becoming thirsty, he asked Dwight to fetch him the jug of cider. Dwight handed it up. The farmer dropped the reins and lifted the jug to his mouth. At that moment, Dwight threw an apple at the horse. The animal leaped forward. The farmer turned a somersault, the jug broke, and within a very few minutes, Dwight was unemployed.
Mother, we got a letter from Isaiah. He found a job in Clinton.
Oh, Dwight, that's wonderful.
Here, he sent you some money from his first paycheck.
He's a good son. What kind of a job did he get?
Can you believe it, Mother? Isaiah's a shoe clerk. Oh, Mother, I wish I could go to the city and get a good job like Isaiah.
You mean you want to leave home now, too?
I hate farming, Mother. Hoeing, milking, cutting hay. Sometimes I think I can't stand another day of it.
Well, son, you're still awfully young to leave home. But I suppose if it will make you happy, you can go to Clinton and see if you can find work.
Oh, thank you, Mother. Wait and see. I'll find a good job, too.
And Dwight did find a job in Clinton, addressing labels for a newspaper. The hours were long, the pay small, and the work tiresome. Not used to the arrangement of the city street addresses, he got the wrong numbers on the labels. There were many complaints, and in the end, he was fired. All through Howell and Greenfield he walked, searching for work. Finding none, he was forced to return home. But the glimpse of the outside world had increased his dissatisfaction. One Thanksgiving Day, his Uncle Samuel traveled by stagecoach from Boston 100 miles away to spend the holiday with his sister, Betsy Moody. How Dwight enjoyed talking to him about the great world beyond the hills.
Uncle Samuel?
Yeah?
Would you give me work in your shoe store if I came to Boston?
Well, Dwight, no. I reckon we wouldn't have a job for you in Boston.
But why not, Uncle Samuel?
Dwight, I know you pretty well. You're bright, you're eager, and you're full of ideas. But I'm sure that if we took you into the store, it wouldn't be long before you'd be trying to tell us how to run our business.
Dwight tried hard to conceal his disappointment. It seemed he was doomed to a life of farm chores. The winter dragged by. Then, early in the spring, Dwight and his brother George were cutting and hauling logs from the slope of a nearby mountain. The work was very hard. Suddenly, Dwight straightened up and announced,
I'm tired of this. I'm not staying around here any longer. I'm going to the city.
But, Dwight, how are you going to get there? Do you have any money for a railroad ticket?
No, I don't. But I'll walk there if I have to.
Here, take this. You'll need it.
Hey, $5. Oh, thank you, brother. I'll repay you. Goodbye, George.
Be careful, son. Life in the city is so different from life here on the farm. And don't forget to write me, dear.
I will, Mother. And I'll send you some money as soon as I can.
Arriving at the depot, Dwight boarded the train for Boston. As quick as that, a new world lay before him. How would the young Dwight Moody adjust to life in the city? How could this young man, with only a 6th grade education, become one of the world's greatest evangelists?